This home, that was built on a hill above Whittier College, was offered a clear view of the cities below, a quiet neighborhood, and an unobstructed view of the sky above. Shelley Studi used these to his advantage in 1926 and built his own observatory and a Whittier hidden gem.
Hi, my name is Austin McCormick and this is my home. It has an observatory on the top floor and we're being asked about that. It was built in 1926 and had a huge Zeiss telescope inside it. That Zeiss telescope is now part of the Griffith Observatory. So we don't have the telescope anymore, but the roof did revolve. It has a place out the far side where the telescope could actually be extended. It was built by Shelley Studi. He was an amateur astronomer, something that folks in the 20s, I suppose, took as a kind of a proof that you'd arrived. You could afford this sort of thing. He bought a Zeiss telescope and had it installed.
Okay, I'm Charlie Studi, and this is one of the houses that I grew up with when I was a small child. I think we came here about 1927, and I lived here, I think, for about 5 years. He had a cage built. As you can see, that roof turns, and he had a cage fastened to that roof. It would turn with it, and I remember sitting in that cage. It had some stairs that got up into it, and the whole thing would turn, the cage and telescope. And as you can see, there's an indication that the roof turned.
We're in the observatory. It's now an office. We had the ceiling and ceiling wood completely renovated. Great expense. The entire ceiling rotates to facilitate the aim of the telescope that at one time hung on these two parallel steel beams. You'll notice there are 4 little screws that hung down. A Zeiss telescope and the astronomer's cage hung from those beams while the roof rotated, so that you could operate. It was not remote controlled, but you could turn the whole roof and point in another direction. And there was a secondary motor that turned the roof 1 rotation per day to keep it in place, so that you didn't have to keep moving your telescope to stay focused on, say, Mercury or Venus or whatever. The telescope hung on these things right here, pointed this way. The astronomer's cage was always at the back end of the telescope. It was a refracting telescope. You looked in one end of it and saw the other. We tried to make the thing rotate, but it turns out it's now sort of egg-shaped. In order to rotate, there was a motor once mounted here that would pull, had a worm gear and would pull the entire roof around on this gear. The wheel, the wood, and this piece of wood right here, and they are part of the roof and rotate. This facilitated the astronomers being able to view whichever part of the heavens he chose.
Why do you think this is a hidden gem?
Because it's hidden. It's definitely hidden. It's you drive by, you think, oh well, maybe that's a house with a turret. It's actually an observatory. It's not something you would expect to see, or we expected to ever own. It just was part of the house that we wanted to buy, and it was just sort of a surprise.